The walls are closing in on Windermere. The baby shower from hell is officially underway, and the greatest twin reveal in recent memory just shattered my heart into a million pieces. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a truly beautiful day to break down the absolute masterpiece that our favorite daytime drama is giving us right now. Let's dive right into the madness. I have to start with the scene that literally had me sobbing at my screen. The atmosphere in that Windermere sub-basement cell has never felt more claustrophobic, and I think the director's choice to keep the lighting so incredibly dim and shadowy was a stroke of absolute genius. It perfectly mirrored the dark, suffocating reality that Jocelyn Jacks and Liesel Obrecht are currently trapped in. When Jocelyn pushed Cassius to step up and rescue them, I felt a surge of absolute adrenaline. I think Jocelyn is absolutely right here. And here's why her dialogue on Wednesday's episode backed up my take. She knows that Cassius is the weak link in Jen Sidwell's operation. She sees the conflict in his eyes. The way I interpret it, Jocelyn isn't just begging for her life. She is actively trying to manipulate Cassius's lingering humanity, and I find it so incredibly compelling to watch her use her survival instincts in such a sharp, calculated way. But the moment that truly broke me was Liesel's reaction. Liesel looked at the man standing before her, and you could see the desperate, agonizing hope of a grieving mother radiating from her face. She genuinely believed she was looking at her beloved Nathan West. She counted on him to save the day, just like Nathan always did. And then the hammer dropped. When Cassius finally delivered the news, the shift in the room was palpable. I am Cassius. Nathan is still dead. I actually gasped out loud when he said those words. I feel so incredibly devastated by that scene because to me, it finally proved that the writers are not going to shy away from the brutal emotional consequences of this twin storyline. I know a lot of people are saying this storyline is dragging or that the twin trope is overplayed, but I actually think the slow burn is exactly what's needed, because I feel like it makes the emotional payoff so much more devastating. The way I see it, this isn't just about a shocking reveal. It is about Liesel's ultimate punishment and her profound tragedy. Kathleen Gotti's performance in that moment was nothing short of a masterclass. The way the light caught the tears welling in her eyes, the sheer physical collapse of her posture, when the realization hit her, it was television perfection. I believe this is the best they've written Liesel in years because they stripped away her defenses and left her completely raw. And for Cassius, the guilt etched into his face proved that he isn't just a carbon copy of Cesar Faison. He is a tortured soul, and I am fiercely loyal to this nuanced portrayal. Speaking of Windermere, we have to talk about the absolute powder keg that is the standoff between Lucas Jones and Jen Sidwell. I felt a genuine chill go down my spine when Sidwell brought that gun to his meeting with Lucas. We all knew this confrontation was coming, but the execution was flawless. Sidwell has finally figured out that Lucas is the one who snatched the blackmail photos and the negatives from the safe at Windermere. I love the way the camera angled up at Sidwell in that moment, making him look larger than life, a looming threat of pure malice. When Sidwell pointed that weapon at Lucas and blamed him for Marco Rios' demise, my heart stopped. I genuinely think we're missing the point if we don't recognize how brilliantly the writers have woven Lucas's grief into this high-stakes thriller. Lucas isn't a trained WSB agent. He is a grieving man who wanted justice for Marco, and now he is staring down the barrel of a gun held by one of the most ruthless men in Port Charles. I feel like this is the most compelling Lucas has ever been. He didn't flinch. He stood his ground. In my opinion, the writers are doing a spectacular job of showing how trauma can push a fundamentally good person into incredibly dangerous territory. The history of those blackmail photos has been a dark cloud over Laura and Sonny for months, and seeing Lucas become the catalyst for this explosive climax is just brilliant storytelling. I am so invested in seeing how he gets out of this, and I firmly believe that this standoff will be the defining moment of his character's legacy. Now let's leave the dark, damp walls of Windermere and head over to the pastel-colored tension of Portia Robinson's baby shower. The contrast between the bright celebratory setting and the dark, simmering hatred between Curtis Ashford and Isaiah Gannon was just delicious. I think the set designers deserve an award for making a room full of balloons feel like a gladiator arena. Portia, bless her heart, was trying so hard to keep the peace. When she pushed Curtis to avoid causing a scene with Isaiah just for one day, I felt a deep wave of sympathy for her. She is carrying so much stress, and the way she pleaded with him was so incredibly grounded in reality. Curtis's reaction, however, is what really got my gears turning. He agreed not to intentionally stir the pot, but he made it very clear that he won't walk away if Isaiah causes trouble first. I know the fandom is very divided on Curtis right now, and a lot of viewers are furious with his lies and his stubbornness. But the way I interpret it, this is exactly how a proud, cornered man behaves. I think Curtis is terrified of the felony charges hanging over his head, and his refusal to back down is a defense mechanism. I feel so incredibly engaged by his messy, flawed behavior. It makes him human. When characters are perfectly moral all the time, they become boring. Curtis is digging his own grave right now, and I'm absolutely captivated by the tragedy of his own making. Then we have Isaiah, who made the brilliant tactical move of trying to get through to Jordan Ashford. When Isaiah called out Curtis as a liar and insisted that as a doctor, he would never leave the scene of an accident when he could have helped. I found myself nodding at the screen. I think Isaiah is absolutely right here, and here is why his dialogue backed up my take. Isaiah is appealing to Jordan's logic, not her emotions. He knows that Jordan is a cop at her core. He presented a completely rational argument that directly contradicts Curtis's narrative. Seeing Jordan caught in the middle of this is just phenomenal television. Part of her clearly wants to believe Isaiah because the facts align with his story, but another part of her has been deeply swayed by Curtis into thinking Isaiah is guilty. I feel like this is the best they've written Jordan's internal conflict in ages. You can see the wheels turning in her head. She's balancing her history with Curtis against her sworn duty to the truth. I love the subtle micro-expressions she gave when Isaiah was pleading with her. It was a masterclass in silent acting. I believe that Jordan is going to be the one to finally crack this hit-and-run case wide open. And this conversation at the baby shower was the crucial turning point. And if we are talking about the hit-and-run, we have to talk about the absolute mastermind that is Brooke Lynn Quartermain. I actually leaped off my couch when Brooke Lynn approached Willow Kane at the shower. When Brooke Lynn pushed for a resolution and told Willow she was sorry for, getting all territorial about Harrison Chase and threatening to destroy her. I was initially outraged. I thought, why is Brooke Lynn backing down? But then, the brilliant twist was revealed. It is all a ruse. I genuinely think we're missing the point if we don't appreciate the sheer tactical genius of Brooke Lynn in this moment. She's plotting against Willow with Lucy Coe, and this fake apology is the perfect way to lower Willow's defenses. I feel so incredibly thrilled by this development because it taps right into Brooke Lynn's Bensonhurst roots. She is a scrapper, and she knows that sometimes you have to play nice to set the ultimate trap. I loved the way Brooke Lynn's voice softened, playing the role of the mature, forgiving wife, while her eyes remained sharp and calculating. I think the writer's choice to have her team up with Lucy Coe is brilliant, because it brings together two of the most cunning women in town. Willow was visibly thrown for a loop, and I am savoring every single second of her discomfort. Willow has been manipulating Drew and making moves on Chase, and she desperately needs a reality check. I believe Brooke Lynn is going to deliver that check with interest, and this fake apology was the masterful opening move of her endgame. Finally, amidst all the heavy life-or-death drama, we got a brief and the sweet moment between Emma Scorpio Drake and Giovanni Gio Palmieri. They had a little tiff, but Gio quickly smoothed things over. I know some fans might think this scene was filler, but I actually think it was the perfect emotional palate cleanser. After the devastation of Liesl's broken heart, the terror of Sidwell's gun, and the toxic tension of the baby shower, we needed a reminder of young, innocent connection. I love the gentle lighting in their scene, and I feel like it grounded the episode, reminding us that life in Port Charles goes on even when the world is burning down around the adults. In conclusion, I am just so fiercely in love with where the show is heading right now. The writers are firing on all cylinders, weaving these massive, sweeping plots with deeply intimate character moments. Every single scene feels earned. Every emotion feels earned, and I cannot wait to see how these spectacular dominoes fall.